Hello everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Ghost Variations. In the interests of light and general ambience, you'll see the book's poster behind us here, I've had a change of angle. So where we've got to in the story is that Yoli is trying to plan a tour of the cathedrals to raise money for the unemployed, but she's been working so hard that her brother-in-law has decided he's going to take them all the way to Dorset for the weekend, along with Eric Palmstierna, who's doing the driving. Squeezed into the back of Eric's open-topped car beside Adrienne and the long-suffering Alec, Yeli clasped her niece's hand so hard that the little girl cried, "Ouch, Auntie Yaya!" Yeli scolded herself. She should be grateful for a trip to a hotel at Studland Bay. She offered up a silent prayer lest Eric's obsession with speed should send them all to the spirit world to which he was so devoted. Eric's wife, Ebba, had stayed behind, spending a few days with their daughter Margareta and the latter's French husband. Ebba's health, Eric said, would make it difficult for her to enjoy a break that involved brisk walks over sand dunes, and she would probably not approve of Studland Bay's naturist beach. At the top of a long climb, the sea spread before them, old Harry jutting up from the water like a snowman on blue satin. Eric stopped the car. Adela sprang out and made for the cliff edge, Adrienne and Caesar cantering behind. "Adri!" shouted Alec, "be careful!" All around rose the sweetness of incipient honey in the heather and the contented rumble of bees. "Oh, what air!" Adela boomed. "Addy, they can hear you in pool," Alec teased her. "There's something of eternity and consolation about the sea," said Eric, who had started his career in the Swedish Navy. "Didn't you find it dull?" Alec asked. "I read a lot of spiritual philosophy," Eric gave a grin. "Unless it was night in the crow's nest when you could only watch the stars and feel the swell of the ocean. You sense your own insignificance within that immensity." The hotel, in a hollow sheltered from the coastal winds, soon slid the newcomers into place. Adela disappeared into the bathroom for a while, as her stomach sometimes insisted she must, then took a nap. Adrienne and Caesar made for the bottom of the garden. A scattering of other guests smiled to see the little girl in lilac playing with her dog. Relaxing on the terrace, the Baron offered Alec his finest tobacco. "I'm not supposed to smoke," Alec admitted, twirling his pipe in one hand. "My doctor says it's bad for my lungs, but this smells amazing." "First class," said Eric. "Riff cut, blended with whiskey and made in Sweden. Come on, Alec, live a little. It's tosh about tobacco damaging their lungs. On the contrary, it helps to aerate them, soothes away any possible infection." Yeli, outside to keep half an eye on Adrienne and the dog, watched the men from a safe distance. Eric was more Mediterranean in appearance than any other Scandinavian she knew. The intensity of his heavy-lidded eyes, she thought, could make him virtually glow in the dark. Beside his aristocratic Swedish drawl, Alec's still detectable American twists and pointed vowels sounded less subtle than usual, but the Baron had built much of his career through his skill at public speaking, while Alec's was founded upon quietness and concentration. The most obvious thing the two had in common was sizable moustaches. The second most obvious thing was Adela. Her vitality seemed to rub off on Eric. Her energy fed him like an addictive substance. "There you are," came her dark voice, and she strode out onto the terrace, her figure as lavish as her cooking, her periwinkle gaze direct between strong level brows, giving a smile that would be visible from the back of the largest concert hall. And Eric's face shone like a Christmas tree set with 100 candles. "I'm all right here, Auntie Yeye," Adrienne called. "I don't need watching." Yeli blew her a kiss, then wandered upstairs to take out her violin. If in doubt, practice. The inevitable began soon after dinner. They'd enjoyed roast chicken and a fine Bordeaux. Now a long marine twilight set in that seemed to concentrate the scents of mown grass, heather and Swedish pipe tobacco. Adela coaxed Adrienne upstairs for a bedtime story, and while the men took cognac in the smoking room, Yeli settled at a table in the lounge to write to Tom. She summoned a cheery tone for her letter that concealed her disquiet at the idea that she should and could have been there to look after him herself. She was on a 6th page, telling him about the dunes, the Baron's fast car, and the fact that there was a naturist beach a 5-minute drive away, when Eric came in. "Yeli, do join us. We have a private salon for our research." In a quiet parlour, draped with brocade curtains and lit by one lamp, Eric had set up a round table with his own set of letters and a tumbler borrowed from the kitchen. Yeli paused in the doorway. This was the last thing she wanted to do. The dinner had been good, the wine even more so, and after that tiring drive, should have preferred to go to sleep. She'd managed to avoid such sessions since her secret effort with Anna. "Where's Adi?" "She's upstairs with Adri. We wait for her." Eric's face softened. "She galvanizes our friends beyond." "She galvanizes real people too," Yeli said pointedly. "Reality has many facets." The Baron did not flinch. "Eventually, I hope, there will be a book, thanks to Adela. It will change the way mankind regards the world of spirits. It may change world consciousness forever. Look at all this." He picked up his notebook from the table and rustled through the pages. Yeli glimpsed paragraph after paragraph in his curled, thick-inked writing, the words close yet clear. "Can I see?" The Baron, smiling, handed it to her. She read, "Progress advances from the lower towards the higher, until perfection is reached, evil being the lowest stage." "Don't we have enough trouble in this world without worrying about the next?" she remarked. "But the messengers can help us. They can give us guidance in troubled times. People are confused, Yeli. We're so insecure. We're so lost." Eric, arms behind his back, started to pace up and down. She couldn't help wishing he'd keep still. "Everything we knew, everything we took for granted, it's all turning into fairy dust. We need the advice of those who know better. Can you imagine what problems we could solve with their wisdom? Read this, received by your sister, letter for letter, word for word. These are teachings for daily life, answering the questions we all want to ask." Yeli ran her gaze over lines and more lines about the importance of individuality and the ridiculous tendency of human beings to wish to be alike. The spirits, it seemed, had the impression they were watching a world of dummies growing dumber by the day because of their fear of being different, killing off the very essence of what each of them could otherwise have offered to life and art. It was pompously expressed, as well it might be coming from Eric's pen, while the sentiments were worthy of Adela at her most extreme. This was the perfect book child of its creative parents, one eloquent Swedish ex-MP and one determined, impassioned Hungarian artist who adored being different. Yeli smiled, more to herself than Eric. Strange that he and Adela should need prompting from spirits in the beyond to pen something so evidently in keeping with their own beliefs. "But Eric, isn't that human nature, wanting to fit in?" she ventured. "It doesn't necessarily mean people are dummies. Especially now, don't you have the feeling that people don't want to stand out the way things are?" She knew too well how it felt to be thought different, therefore a threat, for matters as innocuous as a foreign accent, a darkish complexion, Slavic cheekbones, an artistic profession. "That's the whole point." Eric sounded too patient. "It shows us that this is nothing but illusion. Fear, doubt, and insecurity spawn unnecessary problems and can stop us from finding solutions to them. Come and join us now." "Please excuse me, Eric. I must finish writing to Tom. He's having an operation next week. and we hope it may save him at least for a while. I'm so worried about him, but all I can really do is write to him and pray." He let her go. She retreated to the lounge while the team set to work. Each minute that went by, she thanked Providence that she was still there, still writing. Nothing untoward had taken place, and an hour had passed. It was as if part of her knew what was going to happen. Adela was in the doorway. "Yeli, come here, quick!" In the parlour, Eric and Adela had taken the glass while Alec was transcribing the incoming messages. Yeli looked over his shoulder. He had written down, "Tell Yeli, remember Concerto." "What Concerto?" said Alec. "Wait, there's more coming. I can feel it." Adela, with a dramatic shiver, pressed her finger to the base of the glass. Eric rushed to join her. Heads bowed in concentration, they watched it glide. Did the centre of Adela's palms grow hot? Yeli didn't want to ask. Powerless, she hovered in the shadows beyond the lamplight so that nobody could see her face, while the apparently spirit-loaded glass pounced upon letter after letter. Schumann, Museum, Weimar, Tel, Tovi, Adela interpreted. What on earth does that mean? Why Weimar? What's it got to do with Tovi? 3 pairs of astonished eyes turned towards Yeli. Shy, what in the name of Beelzebub is going on? It's nothing. Stop pretending. A concerto, Schumann, nothing. I didn't take it seriously. I mean, Adi, I'm no good at this. You know I'm not. Why didn't you take it seriously? Out with it. I won't stop asking until you say, so you might as well tell us now. Yeli, trapped, moistened her lips. 2 minutes later, Adela, Alec and the Baron knew everything she had been trying to forget while she plotted her cathedral tour. Adi, did Uncle Yo ever say anything to you about a Schumann violin concerto? She said, pleading. Not that I remember. I am certain no. 100% definitely certain he did not. If anyone knew about it, it would have been him, Alec agreed. It might have been written for him. This is crazy, Adela growled. Oh, Shy! How could you hide such a thing? A missing Schumann concerto. Imagine if you found it and played it. It would be yours, all over the world. You'd go down in history as the woman who rediscovered it. Why me? Said Yeli. Why not you? You were Uncle Yo's pupil, not me. And whatever does Schumann know about Tovi? Schumann didn't know him, but Uncle Yo did very well, Adela pointed out. And Yo loved you, you know. He tells me, on his deathbed, he tells me, make sure little Yeli's doing her bowing properly as I showed her. It's incredible. Eric was ecstatic. Yeli, you are chosen by the angels. How can you refuse their summons? I do wonder what the music would be like, she admitted, if there is some. Yeli, these messages do not come from nowhere. There will be a concerto and you will play it. You will bring an unknown concerto by Schumann to the world at the composer's own request. We will all help you. Try and stop us. Supposing it isn't real. Yeli felt outnumbered, shouted down by people stronger or at least louder than she was. Nobody was present to back her up. Alec, inscrutable behind his moustache, while his wife and her friend assailed Yeli, took no sides. Supposing these spirits are not who they say they are, and they're misleading us, giving us information that's false, she said. And then we ask everywhere and it's not true. Imagine how silly we'll look. Not nearly as silly as we will if someone else finds it first, Eric pointed out. Supposing we had the chance, but we didn't take it. That's one thing that people truly come to regret, losing an opportunity for no reason other than self-doubt and fear. Don't be afraid, Yeli. Grasp this with both hands. You won't regret it. We must make inquiries. Promise me you will start writing to people who might be able to help. But if it is real, surely we wouldn't tell people how we heard about it. We wouldn't tell them about this. The glass sat motionless amid the letters. Of course we would, Adela countered. An amazing story and evidence that the spirits are real. Wouldn't it be rather dangerous? Not many people believe in this kind of thing, not any longer. They will have to then. And we would be so proud. Shy, you must investigate. And if you find it soon, you can play it for your cathedral tour. Imagine the impact. Wouldn't that be amazing? As the youngest of 3 siblings, Yeli had spent much of her life feeling that other people were bigger than she was. Her habitual response was simple. She let them have their way so that she could get back to her violin. She concealed her sense of defeat behind her brightest smile, her warmest good nights, and a silent recognition that on the final point, the cathedral concerts, Adela was right. Now it would only be possible if she could find the peace. Fast. That's the end of episode 7. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you for episode 8, same time tomorrow. Bye.